Welcome, my fellow masters. Here we are, finally, the next installment of How Many SQ. And this time we'll be covering up to around August of 2023. I admit, my original intention was to get this out not long after my Muramasa SQ video. Unfortunately, real life just had a way of, getting in the way. At any rate, I just wanted to express a simple thanks to everyone who has been patiently waiting for this. As mentioned, I'll be counting SQ up to around summer of next year. This means the focus on the Lost Belt 6 banners and the 6th anniversary banner, and even some stops at banners leading up to the summer. Lots of really good servants next year, and many of the really anticipated ones in close proximity to each other. It's gonna be a crazy year for new servants. So now, before we get into it, I wanted to mention that I've made a slight adjustment regarding the expected SQ from maintenance. In my previous video, I had counted 5 St. Quartz per maintenance, and at the time, it did indeed seem like NA had been bumped up to that. The maintenance for the 5th anniversary and the Summer 5 event both yielded 5 SQ as an apology for the inconvenience. However, since the Summer 5 event, we've had 2 other event maintenance, one for the Oku rerun and other just recently for the Shisho Fest. But both of these only yielded 4 SQ, so I'm not quite sure what's going on with that. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be conservative with the expectation of the maintenance SQ. Thus, I'll only be counting 4 SQ per maintenance period. Better to lower the overall expectation and then be pleasantly surprised if the 5 SQ maintenance shows up again. Let's first start with a quick summary of what can be expected for those that are saving for Muramasa. I'm sure there are many that are hoping to roll for Muramasa, and one or more of the new servants coming up around the summer of 2023. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to use a saving start date of September 4th, which would give us 120 days until the start of Muramasa's banner on January 1st. One can accumulate 179 SQ from the daily logins, 50-day total login bonuses, and completing all the weekly master missions, along with 17 summon tickets from the daily login streak, plus another 25 tickets from the Mana Prism Shop monthly refresh for September to January. From the events, campaigns, and maintenance leading up to January 1st, including the current Back to School campaign, 227 SQ, excluding the 6 quartz from the New Year's panel missions as they won't be immediately available at the start of the banner. 26 summon tickets, and again excluding 1 ticket from the New Year's panel mission for the same reason. And then 24 SQ projected from expected server maintenance prior to the events. Just a quick note about a campaign I missed in my Muramasa video, the 2000 day anniversary, which happened in January on JP, but these milestones tend to occur about a month earlier on NA, so I'm counting another 10 SQ from the 2000 day campaign that will likely happen around mid-December. Something similar happened for the 900 days anniversary, which occurred in January on the JP server, but in December for NA. Combining everything together would give us a conservative grand total of 430 St. Quartz, 68 summon tickets by January 1st. Please note that I'm not including any potential quartz from interludes or rank up quests added from the related campaigns. And I'm also not counting any speculative SQ from the Thanksgiving campaign, as those have been inconsistent as far as SQ or ticket rewards from past years. So if you happen to give in to temptation on any of the banners since the previous SQ saving video, then this should at least provide you an idea of what you'll have to work with by diligently saving from this point. But now we're going to break down what can be expected for St. Quartz and tickets after Muramasa, leading up to the first Lost Belt 6 banner where Morgan and Fairy Knights Gawain and Tristan are released. For the most part, I'm just going to follow the release schedule as it occurred on JP, until at least we get to around June. Naturally, things can unfold a little differently for NA in the grand scheme of things, so please bear that in mind. Getting out of January 2023 with your SQ intact will not exactly be an easy feat. Around early January, the Saber Wars 2 rerun is expected to be scheduled, and that means the SSR Avenger Space Ishtar will be back on Raid Up. Personally, I think she's one of the best units in the game, and definitely an incredible AoE arts looper with Castoria. But beyond that, Space Ishtar's unique ability to change the card type of her NP gives her amazing flexibility based on what supports you may have available. That includes being able to work with Scotty or the future new Buster meta support, Koyanskaya of Light. Now, if you're someone that was focusing on this rune face rather than Muramasa, and assuming a January 6th event start date, then you will most likely have around 443 quartz and 69 tickets, including everything from the New Year's campaign. If you spent everything on the New Year's banner, unfortunately there isn't just enough time to save up anything significant. But if we were to count the few daily logins from January 1st to January 20th, the assumed last day of the Saber Wars 2 rerun, you would have 17 SQ and 2 tickets from the daily logins and weekly missions, 6 SQ and 1 ticket from the New Year's panel missions. I'm going to assume the 30 SQ from the New Year's login bonus was already used up, plus 7 SQ and 5 tickets from the event itself, along with 4 SQ from a preparatory server maintenance. Combined, that is 34 quartz and 8 tickets. And if you have Yagyu, he has a rank up released with this rerun and could provide another potential 2 quartz. Not a lot, but enough for a few YOLO pulls if you were feeling lucky. Expected immediately on the heels of the Saber Wars 2 rerun should be the Little Big Tengu event and the release of the brand new SSR Avenger, Taira no Kagekyo, otherwise known as Avenger Ushi. So if you're a huge Ushi fan like me, then no doubt this is a servant you're excited for. Now, if you have been saving since at least September 4th up to this point, and assuming an event start date of January 21st, you should have 472 SQ and 77 tickets. If you're starting from scratch after Muramasa, then using an assumed January 1st to an event last day of February 3rd, you're looking at 31 SQ and 4 tickets from daily logins and weekly missions, 6 SQ and 1 ticket from the New Year's panel missions, 7 SQ and 5 tickets from the Saber Wars 2 rerun, another 7 quartz and 4 tickets from the Little Big Tengu event itself, 5 more tickets from the February refresh of the Mana Prism shop, and 8 SQ from 2 estimated server maintenance. Plus, Chinese New Year will fall on January 22nd in 2023, so NA can expect another 10 SQ from a Chinese New Year campaign around that time. That would combine to 69 Saint Quartz and 18 tickets. There is another potential 4 SQ from the new rank up quests released for Rider Ushiwakamaru and Lancer Benkei, if you happen to have them raised to their 4th ascension. Sometime in February, NA can expect the annual FGO user survey, which should provide 4 summon tickets for those that complete the survey. And then immediately following the Little Big Tengu event is a Roman-themed Grailfront event, A2 Brute. This particular Grailfront should occupy the first couple weeks of February, and from it, 7 summon tickets can be obtained, along with a potential 4 quartz from new rank ups released for the 3-star Boudica and 2-star Caligula if you have them at their 4th ascension. So far, the events seem to be piled on top of each other, at least on how it occurred on JP up to this point. The Valentine's 2023 event is no exception, that assuming a start of February 10th, it will overlap with the Grailfront event. And the Valentine's 2023 event will be the release of the new ruler class Amor Karen, or Karen Hortensia. For those that have been looking forward to Karen, here is a summary of SQ and tickets if you have been saving up to this point. From September 4th to February 10th, you should have a combined total of 544 quartz and 99 tickets. If you manage to keep up with all of the new interludes and rank ups, then another potential 33 SQ may be available to you. If you're starting to save from January 1st, then using an assumed event last day of February 24th, 82 SQ and 7 tickets from the daily logins and weekly missions, including a 50-day total login bonus, 5 tickets from the February Mana Prism shop refresh, 30 SQ and 21 tickets from events and campaigns, 6 quartz and 5 tickets from the Valentine's event itself, and there should be another 10 Saint Quartz from the President's Day campaign NA usually has around the 3rd week of February, plus 16 SQ from 4 projected server maintenance. This should total up to 144 Saint Quartz and 38 tickets. Perhaps overlapping somewhat with the Valentine's event would be NA's 20 million downloads campaign. I'm suggesting a potential overlap only because usually NA's download campaign tends to be around 2 weeks earlier than their JP counterpart. But regardless, from this downloads campaign, we can expect 10 summon tickets from a 7-day login bonus, plus new extra missions that are based on leveling any servant to thresholds ranging from level 50 to level 100, and should all be retroactive. Completing all of these missions would net 30 quartz. And a new rank up quest for Proto Arthur is released with this campaign. So another potential 2 SQ if you happen to have Arthur and raised him to his 4th ascension. Around early March, we can expect the Chaldea Boys campaign and its associated event. In this case, it's called the Slapstick Museum. From clearing all of the event main quests, 7 quartz can be obtained. There will be a login bonus for the campaign that will provide 6 summon tickets in total, and 3 new rank up quests for Amakusa Shiro, OG Da Vinci, and Jinghei. So that's another potential 6 SQ if you have those servants and appropriately ascended. Then around mid-March, there should be a pre-release for the next event, Akihabara Explosion. With this pre-release, there will be a login bonus that includes 3 quartz and 2 summon tickets. For the actual Akihabara Explosion event that is expected around late March, a new SSR Berserker will be released, Galatea. For those that have been specifically targeting this new single-target Arts Berserker waifu, here is a look at the SQ and ticket count you can expect if you have been saving everything from September 4th up to this assumed event start date of March 24th. Altogether, it should total 684 quartz and 133 tickets. If you manage to keep up with all of the new interludes and rank ups, including the new rank up for Nero Bride released with this event, then another potential 43 SQ may be available to you. And if you're just starting from January 1st, then using an assumed event last day of April 7th, 124 SQ and 13 tickets from the daily logins, total logins and weekly missions, 15 tickets from the Mana Prism Shop refresh, 86 SQ and 44 tickets from events and campaigns, 10 SQ from the Akihabara Explosion event itself, and there should also be another 10 Saint Quartz from an April Fool's campaign, plus 28 quartz from an estimated 7 server maintenance. This should total up to 258 Saint Quartz and 72 tickets. After the Akihabara Explosion event is this Spring in Full Bloom campaign, which is effectively a summoning banner for Hokusai and Tamama no Mae. But there are also 2 rank ups released with this one for SSR Foreigner Hokusai and the other for the SR Assassin Chiome. Thus, 4 potential SQ for those that have those servants and at the appropriate ascension. Also expected in early April is the 2100 days anniversary for NA. As mentioned before, NA typically gets these roughly a month ahead of when it occurred on JP, but it's not an exact science. So for now, I've slotted this in for early April. The part 13 of the servant rank up quest should be around mid-April. There are 7 servants that get new rank up quests, thus a potential 14 quartz combined for those that are fortunate enough to have all of these servants and at their max ascension. Around late April should be the pre-release campaign from the Waltz in the Moonlight collab event. This pre-release will have a login bonus that will provide 3 SQ, and assuming we get the same social media retweet campaign, another 12 SQ from achieving the targets. The actual collab event, called Grail Live, should follow shortly after the pre-release, and with this collab event is the release of the unique SSR caster Miss Crane. So if you find Miss Crane's servant position swapping mechanic interesting, and have been saving everything since September 4th for her, then by April 26th, the assumed start date of the Grail Live event, you should have a total of 767 Saint Quartz and 143 tickets. If you were to count all of the SQ from the new interludes and rank ups thus far, that would be an additional 69 quartz, including 8 quartz from the 4 new rank ups that come with the Grail Live event. For the scenario of starting from January 1st and saving up until the last day of the Grail Live event, soon to be May 10th, the SQ and ticket count would be a total of 363 SQ and 85 summon tickets. This one is more speculative since on JP, this was a pre-release campaign for the Camelot movie, so a direct counterpart on NA is difficult to predict, but it is possible it will show up as a Blu-ray commemorative campaign around the May time period. Regardless, at some point new rank up quests for Ozymandias, Sanzang, and Bedivere will have to be released, which this original campaign had on JP. So that's a potential 6 quartz for those that have these servants and at max ascension. Around mid-May is the expected next Grail Front event, My Super Camelot. The usual 7 tickets can be obtained from clearing all of the Grail Front battles. And there are 2 new rank up quests for SSR Lancer Artoria and SR Archer Tristan, providing a potential 4 SQ if you have them and at their 4th ascension. Ending May and perhaps spilling over into June is the expected Summer 5 Servant Summer Camp rerun. A very nice 28 Saint Quartz can be obtained from this event's main and side quests. And now we've come to June. This is where things can get a little tricky, as events would normally start to shift around on NA in preparation for the anniversary at the beginning of July. For the purposes of this video, I'm basically going to guess at how the event schedule will adjust to accommodate the July anniversary. So please take this with a grain of salt and bear with the liberties I take here. The beginning of June should bring about the pre-release campaign for Lost Belt 6 Avalon Lefay. This pre-release will have a master mission that provides 10 SQ for clearing the Heian-Kyo Lost Belt. And along with the pre-release campaign is also a main quest Clear Aid campaign to hopefully help many catch up on the story. Now this main quest Clear Aid campaign will start at the same time as the Lost Belt 6 pre-release, but it will run for much longer, lasting until around mid-August. There will be 4 sets of limited master missions providing a number of SQ, and each have staggered start dates within the campaign. Parts 1 and 2 should be within June, each providing 12 SQ. Parts 3 and 4 would be in July and provide 12 and 14 SQ respectively. The timing of these master missions will come into play when looking at the banners in June and July. Again, this is under the assumption that the release schedule of these particular master missions is similar to how it happened on JP. Then we finally come to the actual release of Lost Belt 6 in early mid-June. Interestingly, Avalon Lefay was released in 3 parts in JP over the course of June, July, and August. So with this Part 1 release, the very first banner of Lost Belt 6 will feature the 5-star Berserker Morgan, along with the 4 stars Fairy Knights Gawain and Tristan. I know that many will be diligently saving for Morgan, as she was one of the most requested servants to be covered for saving SQ. And personally, she's probably my most anticipated servant of next year. With that said, if you have been saving since September 4th up to this point, which we will assume a banner start date of June 11th, 430 SQ and 40 tickets from daily logins, total logins, and weekly missions, 50 tickets from monthly Mana Prism shop refreshes, 408 SQ and 80 tickets from events and campaigns up to this point, plus 12 more SQ from the Part 1 of the limited master missions from the main quest Clear Aid campaign, 68 SQ from a projected 17 server maintenance. And originally there was a live stream just prior to the release of LB6 Part 1 and a retweet campaign that provided 12 SQ. So I'm going to assume the same. This brings about a total of 930 quartz and 170 summon tickets. A potential 81 SQ could be included if you were able to complete all of the newly released interludes and rank ups up to this point. If you were to start from 0 from January 1st after rolling for Muramasa, and saving up to the last day of Morgan's banner, which will assume to be June 25th, then you could have 265 SQ and 25 tickets from daily logins, total logins, and weekly missions, 25 tickets from monthly Mana Prism shop refreshes, 181 SQ and 54 tickets from events and campaigns, another 24 SQ from parts 1 and 2 of the limited master missions from the main quest Clear Aid campaign, 44 SQ from an estimated 11 server maintenance, and then 29 SQ from clearing all of the main story of Avalon Lefay Part 1, according to the FGO event compendium. Your total count for this scenario would be 543 Saint Quartz and 104 tickets. Now it should be noted there is expected to be a second banner around this Part 1 Lost Belt 6 release featuring Castoria. Just to make things a little bit more complicated. Interestingly, Morgan's banner will get another run during an Avalon Lefay conclusion campaign slated to run in August. Following Lost Belt 6 Part 1 should be Interlude Campaign 16. Notably, there are 4 interludes that provide SQ. thus a potential 4 SQ if you have the indicated servants and at their appropriate bond level and ascension. It is at this point where I'm going to guess at how things will shuffle. Grand Neurofest was supposed to start at the very end of June and run until mid-July. At least that's how it was on JP. However, with NA's anniversary being at the very beginning of July, then I can see Grand Neurofest being pushed until after the anniversary. In fact, I could see it being pushed to September, where these fest-type tournament lottery events usually occur. So, under that premise, that brings us to the commemorative campaign for the 6th anniversary, which should precede the actual anniversary by a week or so. So I'm thinking this will be during the very last week of June, likely overlapping with the Interlude campaign. It will have a series of memorial quests that will provide several reward items, including up to 7 summoning tickets. And something that was interesting when this commemorative campaign ran on JP were the 6 live streams over 6 days, each with their own retweet campaigns that provided 12 SQ per live stream, a combined total of 72 quartz. Now, I have no idea if a series of live streams will be attempted for NA during this campaign, but considering the significant amount of SQ, I would hope they figure out a way to distribute an equivalent quantity. For now, I'm going to be conservative and put these 72 SQ under my speculative quartz, along with those from the rank ups. Now we come to the 6th anniversary for NA at the beginning of July, and with that comes the release of the 5-star assassin Koyan Sky of Light, the new Buster Meta Hybrid support unit, and with her introduction it becomes possible for a number of Buster servants to 3-turn NP loot. So no doubt many are looking forward to her, including me. First off, let's take a look at the SQ we can reasonably look forward to with this anniversary campaign. As usual, there was a live stream with its own retweet campaign. Assuming this occurs similarly in NA, we can expect at least 72 SQ from this. 12 SQ from the original retweet campaign announcement, followed by a multiplying factor of 6 for the anniversary when the goals are achieved. On JP, there was also 84 SQ that came from challenges that were most likely played during the live stream. A similar thing happened for the 5th anniversary, where there was 30 SQ given for a Gilgamesh challenge. Now, NA didn't get any sort of challenge nor a reward, but there was an equivalent 30 SQ provided by a special app release bonus, which was unique to NA. So I suspect something similar will happen for that 84 SQ from the JP 6th anniversary livestream, and we will get an equivalent by some other means. And then there are the new extra missions. From these, I'm only going to count the 20 SQ from clearing Olympus and Heian-kyo, and the 20 SQ from clearing 210 and 220 main story free quests. These are reasonably achievable. The new strengthening quests and interlude completion missions are quite difficult for the majority of players to achieve. But keep in mind these extra missions are permanent, so perhaps eventually the SQ from those particular missions can be claimed. On the topic of interludes, starting with the 6th anniversary, the quartz reward for clearing an interlude will be raised from 1 to 2. This will be retroactive, so any completed interludes with an SQ reward should immediately provide the additional SQ. A maximum of 138 Saint Quartz can be obtained from clearing all the interludes, but that is in the realm of the long-time whales. And it's hard to factor in this SQ regardless, since every account is different. So while I won't be including this SQ in the conservative or speculative counts, just know that if you have completed some interludes, there will be some additional SQ incoming. As usual during an anniversary is the release of another round of strengthening or rank up quests. This time though, there will be 14 as opposed to the usual 7. So a potential 28 SQ for those lucky enough to have all these servants and max ascended. There will be a consecutive login bonus that culminates with 10 summon tickets, which is fairly normal. Another 10 tickets from the special anniversary Mana Prism shop items, again fairly normal. And lastly, there is the Koyan Sky of Light trial quest, which provides 1 summon ticket. All in all, at the beginning of the 6th anniversary, you can look forward to at least 196 Saint Quartz and 21 tickets. Now, for those that have been strictly saving for Koyan Sky of Light since September 4th, and assuming a banner start date of July 3rd next year, you should have 482 SQ and 43 tickets from daily logins, total logins and weekly missions, 55 tickets from monthly Mana Prism shop refreshes, 657 SQ and 108 tickets from events and campaigns, 72 SQ from a projected 18 server maintenance, which brings this scenario's total to 1,211 Saint Quartz and 206 summon tickets to use for summoning Koyan Sky of Light, including the 6th anniversary goodies. A potential 85 quartz could be included if you were able to complete all of the newly released interludes and rank ups up to this point, but excluding the 6th anniversary rank ups since those would take several days to all release. And if we're lucky, then another potential 72 quartz from the anniversary Countdown campaign retweet rewards will be available. Scenario 2, starting from 0 after rolling for Muramasa, January 1st to July 3rd, then the amount saved, including the expected rewards from the 6th anniversary, is 751 SQ and 138 tickets. I'm also going to include a Scenario 3, starting from 0 after rolling for Morgan, saving from June 11th to July 17th, which is my assumed last day of the Koyan Sky banner. You will have 36 SQ, 5 tickets from daily logins, etc., 5 tickets from the July Mana Prism shop, 247 SQ, 28 tickets from events and campaigns. And included in this are the SQ from the Lost Belt 6 Part 1, the 6th anniversary, and sometime early July I expect a 2200 days anniversary with a 10 SQ bonus. And also included is 12 SQ from the main quest Clear Aid campaign Part 3 Limited Master Mission. And lastly, 4 SQ from a server maintenance. This Scenario 3 combines to a total of 287 Saint Quartz and 38 summon tickets. If we added interludes and rank ups including the ones from the 6th anniversary, then another potential 34 SQ could be counted. And of course, there is the 72 Saint Quartz from the Countdown campaign that we all hope for. From the 6th anniversary, if things were to progress as they did on JP for the rest of July, then the Avalon Lefay Lost Belt Part 2 should come around mid-July, and with it the Fairy Knight Lancelot and Percival banner. Again, servants I'm sure many are looking forward to. For this Scenario 1 crowd, strictly saving since September 4th up to this point, an assumed banner start date of July 14th, things should look like this: 491 Saint Quartz and 44 tickets from daily logins, total logins and weekly missions, 55 tickets from Mana Prism shop refreshes, 679 SQ and 108 tickets from events and campaigns, plus 76 SQ from estimated server maintenance, totaling 1,246 Saint Quartz and 207 summon tickets. The count from Scenario 2, where you're saving from scratch starting from January 1st to July 14th, we're looking at a combined 786 Saint Quartz and 139 tickets. As for a Scenario 3, well, there just isn't a lot of time in between the anniversary banner and this third Lost Belt 6 banner. But if we were to assume that everything was spent on the first day of the anniversary for Koyan Skya, then a saving from July 3rd to a presumed banner end date of July 28th, you could scrounge up 23 SQ and 3 tickets from daily logins and weekly missions, 10 SQ from the expected 2200 days bonus, 26 from the Part 3 and Part 4 limited master missions of the main quest Clear Aid campaign, plus 33 SQ from the main quests of Avalon Lefay Part 2, according to the FGO event compendium, and 4 quartz from the presumed maintenance for LB6 Part 2. This would combine to a modest 96 Saint Quartz and 3 tickets for this short time frame scenario. Lastly, we have the Avalon Lefay conclusion campaign, and if it were to still follow the JP schedule pattern, then this would come around early to mid-August. And with this comes the Oberon banner, who is the game's first Pretender class servant, and one that really introduces some interesting things to potential compositions, with his ability to charge a servant's NP gauge up to 70% and greatly boost any NP damage up buffs. If you had your heart set on Oberon and have been saving since at least September 4th up to this point, which I'll assume a banner start date of August 4th, then your reserve should be 512 Saint Quartz and 47 tickets from daily logins, total logins, and weekly missions, 60 tickets from September to August Mana Prism shop refreshes, 738 SQ and 108 tickets from events and campaigns, including 12 SQ from this LB6 Conclusion campaign's limited master mission, 80 SQ from a projected 20 server maintenance, giving this scenario 1 a total of 1,330 St. Quartz and 215 tickets. Scenario 2 of saving from January 1st to August 4th would look as follows: 900 St. Quartz and 147 tickets total combined. For Scenario 3, I'm going to do this a bit differently and use the premise of prioritizing meta supports. So I'm assuming everything was spent on Koyanskaya on the first day of the 6th anniversary, and now the goal is to save as much as possible for Oberon. With that said, saving from July 3rd to an assumed banner end date of August 18th, there should be 44 SQ and 6 tickets from daily logins and weekly missions, 5 tickets from the August Mana Prism Shop, 81 SQ from events and campaigns, plus a new Master Aid campaign that provides 3 SQ and 1 ticket from limited Master missions, and then 4 SQ from 1 server maintenance. So this would total 132 quartz and 12 tickets to try and snag yourself an Oberon. And that's where we'll stop for this edition of How Many SQ. Please keep in mind there will be times when certain campaigns may not provide the same amount of SQ for NA that had originally been distributed on JP. There is also the possibility that events and campaigns can be shuffled around. Case in point is the June through August time period where shuffles are inevitable due to NA's anniversary occurring in July. This would naturally affect SQ availability before a particular banner. These SQ count videos are here to provide a snapshot of scenarios given what is currently known and can be reasonably inferred. As I eventually update these SQ videos, the closer we come to certain banners, new and more accurate information will be included. So, 2023 seems pretty jam-packed with tempting banners, especially when all of the Avalon LaFace servants come around, plus Koyanskaya of Light during the 6th anniversary. So many servants to roll for, but just not quite enough SQ to cover them all. Please let me know in the comments with which 2023 servants you will be targeting. Personally, for my alternate account, I've decided to mainly focus on Koyanskaya of Light and Oberon, though I may still try to nab myself a Space Ishtar as well. Again, my thanks for everyone's patience waiting for this particular video. If this was helpful in some way, or you simply enjoyed it, or both, please hit that like button as it really helps out the channel. And if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing for more FGO content like this. I'm hoping to put out an overview of the upcoming hunting quest, and then after that, a video on saving apples for the Christmas Lotto, since I know many have probably run out after Shisho Fest. Thank you, as always, for watching, and until the next one, cheers everyone!